gonna take back my I'm gonna go ahead and take
Oopsie.
back my screen real quick because we need our agenda on before we start, but I'll make sure you have this back
Very
as
good.
as soon as we get back to where you'll be speaking at on our agenda.
Okay, thank you so much.
And just a note for everybody here, Nitty will be taking notes through the chat, so if you could put your name or just kind of signal to her in the chat, that'd be great.
I'm glad to see one of our board members, Al Bogdan. Good evening, Al.
Oh my, I was like asking who he was for a minute. My apologies.
He's one of
It's
the 10 core board members.
It is a pleasure to have you on, sir. Thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see. Oh, someone already admitted. Thank you for that.
Is it possible to have the youth council members introduce themselves? I am so proud of all of them. I would just love to have that for a moment.
Yeah, we can actually do that right now while we're still waiting for the rest of our members.
Okay,
Um,
that would
would
be
anyone
great.
like to volunteer to go
Can go
first?
first. Yeah, I
Perfect.
can go first. So hi, my name is Nidhi. I'm the secretary for the council. Forgive me that my video isn't on. I'm not feeling too great.
Oh,
But
sorry.
it's nice to be here. Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
I hope you feel better. My, thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi. And like I said, I hope you get better as well.
Yeah.
Olivia, Priya, Maya, would you like to go ahead?
Sure, I'll go. Hi, I'm Maya Freitas. I'm a senior at Southgate. This is my first year on the council. Just excited to be here.
I am real excited. Southgate. So you're near River Rouge. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
In that general direction.
Yes.
Yeah, downriver.
Downriver, right.
It helps. I'm also downriver. So
Okay,
I'm
where are you
actually
from, Robert?
I'm from Southgate. So I actually went
Okay.
to school at Southgate Anderson. So my roots are based here in my hometown.
Excellent, excellent. I just
Um,
think this is an incredible move to have these young people involved. This is great. It's wonderful.
Priya, I heard you unmute. You can go ahead,
Yeah,
actually.
sorry.
That's
Hello. My name is Priya Roy. I'm a senior at Hamtramck High School, and this is my first year being part of this youth council. It's really nice to see you, and I'm glad to be here and be part of this amazing thing.
Yes, thank you. Very nice to meet you. Now, she's not far from us. In fact, our church is in Hamtramck. Corinthian Church, Priya, right by I-75. You're right next door.
I'm afraid I might not know about this, but I'm pretty sure somewhere here in Hamtramck.
Mm-hmm.
I can go next. My name's Olivia Sherwood. I am a junior at Lincoln Park High School, and this is my first year being part of the youth council. And I'm excited to be here and have this great experience and to learn new things.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Hi, I missed the part that we were all giving introductions. I'm Janine Jackson. I'm a senior at Thurston High School in Redford, Michigan. This is my second year on the council, and I'm just ready to make some change again. That's all.
You're ready to do what?
Make some change again.
Oh, excellent. I'm going to interpret that very broadly. You're ready to make some change? Is that what you said?
Correct. Especially in the community.
Okay, well, tonight's the night.
Okay.
That's right. I couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, I'm going to borrow that if I might. I like the way you said it. I'm going to make some change.
Is there
That
anyone
works.
else I'm missing? Oh, Madison and Kelly.
Kelly's here.
I'm here.
We're just going through introductions. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, Kelly, you're more than welcome to.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I'm a junior at Cass, and this is my second year on the youth council.
Excellent. My husband's alma mater, a technician, eh? I understand. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
So we're just approaching 6
Um,
o'clock. We're just still waiting on a few other folks to join.
Okay.
And
Hi, my name is, do I go? I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay. Hi, my name is Madison Fleming. I'm a sophomore at Cass Tech, and this is my first year.
Well, hello, Madison. Another technician, eh? Excellent. Very nice to meet you all.
Commissioner, we're just actually going through introductions while we're waiting for the rest of our members to arrive.
Robert or Commissioner? Are we waiting for more members?
Just two.
You can go ahead and start the meeting.
Yeah. Alrighty, Madam Chair, you are more than welcome to start this meeting. Janine, you're all set.
Hi, I will be filling in for Zion today as chair. And we're gonna start off with roll call. Kiera Johnson.
She is not here at the moment. She had also stated she might be late.
Okay. Needy Kumar.
She's present.
Okay. Noah Gubin.
Not present. I'll mark him as late, so you can move on.
Thomas Bissett.
Also late.
Kelly Cox.
Here.
Madison Fleming.
Here.
Maya Freitas.
Here.
Leah Irving.
Here.
I'm here. Jayla Jackson.
No.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Jayla Jackson, are you here? Janine, you can go ahead and move on.
Okay. Peyton Kitchen.
Here.
Priya Roy.
Here.
And Olivia Sherwood.
Here.
All right.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, moving on. Next on the agenda.
Let me scroll down for you. Opening invocation.
Okay, would anyone like to lead opening invocation?
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna do a prayer. And so could you please bow your heads and close your eyes? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all that you've done for us and all that you continue to do. Lord, I pray that you allow us to all, continue to have a good week and a good spring break for many of us, Lord. Lord, we just thank you for allowing us to be here with each other, Lord. Lord, I pray that this is a productive meeting and that we're able to get a lot accomplished, and that we're able to enjoy each other's presence. And in your name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Moving on, next on the agenda, approval of minutes from February 22nd. Do we have a motion of approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 For the purposes of the minutes, when you make a motion, clerk, can you state your name?
If everyone could state their name when they do make a motion, that'd be greatly appreciated. So
Should I
if
read
Okay,
it?
do we know who made the motion?
I did, Kelly.
Okay, Kelly made the motion, Kelly Cox, and then who
Peyton
supported?
seconded.
Peyton Kitchen, seconded.
Thank you. You can move forward.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we have our 10-minute speaker series. And I'll be turning that over to Robert for introduction.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Today I have the pleasure to introduce Florice Neville Ewell, hopefully I'm saying that right, from Cooley Law School to talk about the importance of homeownership and real estate with a program she has based the 10 core law society of being a homeowner. So Florice, I would love for you to take it away at your presentation. I'll stop sharing my screen for you.
And can you highlight the speaker, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. I assume that the Honorable Baker McCormick is on the line, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging your brilliance. You are a visionary by having established this group. I got on a little earlier because I wanted to meet these young people who have already illustrated that they're going to be our future leaders. And I am just ecstatic about what you have done. And so thank you, thank you, thank you for having done this. It's absolutely
you.
incredible. Seriously,
Thank
this is just beautiful. And it is so compatible with what I'm about to share, and that will hopefully be obvious momentarily. Now, I need to ask one question because I want to thank the youth for being here, because I know you have studies and this is part of your responsibility, but it's still your time. But it said 10-minute speaker, so I need to know how much time I actually have, because my presentation is a little longer, but I think it might be worth your while. But I would like for permission to proceed beyond the designated 10 minutes, if possible. I will rush through, but 10 minutes definitely won't be long enough. So I suppose I need to ask for permission.
Yes, you're fine.
Okay.
We just try to keep it short to make sure that we allow you time, but also them time to get into their studies and other
Sure.
activities. So yeah,
Sure.
so
Well,
maybe
I promise.
no more than 20 minutes.
Right.
You
I
think?
promise that I will move through it very quickly, but this information is just
Important.
so important.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
And I've got the leaders sitting in this space, and what an incredible opportunity. So without further ado, let me begin and make sure that we can all see it here. Let me enlarge it. So I've given a title to this that I think says it all. And from here, I'm going to provide some very specific information that I think these youth council members will appreciate. So it's entitled "Toward the Expansion of 10 Corps' Call It My House program today to prepare youth for homeownership success in the future." And so I have a few different sections to discuss, but ultimately, I believe that this might be of some interest to you. So I want to begin, as I always do when I speak, by identifying the problem or the problems. But as always, like any good lawyer, you try to come up with solutions. And in fact, that's what I will discuss as well. So I want to talk about the housing issue from a national and local perspective, because after all, we are in Wayne County, and that is where you are sitting and serving. But let's take a look, if you would, at some of the national issues that we are facing as a country. Recently, Secretary Fudge retired from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with that department, it is one of several cabinet departments at the federal level that we have. And ultimately, this particular cabinet position is responsible for establishing policy, housing policy across the United States. And recently, Secretary Fudge retired, but she left some very profound comments and basically said, we have 4 major problems as a community. Number one, her goal was to make the dream of homeownership and the security and wealth creation that comes with it a reality for more Americans. And we see that in statistical data, there is not one line suggesting that everybody is at the same level. She also wanted to eradicate the growing homelessness issue. We have a serious homelessness problem across this country. And we see ultimately that the data, again, does not look good. She also wants to put an end to discriminatory practices in the housing market. As lawyers, this is where we come in particular, because it's our responsibility to try and make sure that people are not discriminated against while they are engaging in or participating in the housing process at any level. And then finally, she wanted to ensure that our fair housing rules, because we do have laws at the national and state levels, and she wanted to make sure that those rules were available to everyone. So ultimately, she wanted to make sure that the Fair Housing Act, both again, nationally and locally, was being implemented. At the same time, here in Wayne County, we know that there are challenges within our region generally, and in Wayne County in particular. And one of the sources of information for us comes through the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. And MSHDA is responsible for compiling a lot of data that we get from other sources nationally. And so here we had this wonderful map that MSHDA put together. And our particular area is 10A, A as in apple. And ultimately, what did MSHDA do but take a look at the status of housing within our area, Wayne County in particular. And ultimately, as we see in this graph, in the 50s, we had much, much better statistical data. 87% of the houses in our area were owner occupied. Now we see we have about 13% of the houses owner occupied. Moreover, this Michigan home ownership study also saw a decline, that this particular decline in the number of owner occupied units, and what does this mean? But people who own the property that they live in, we saw this dramatic decline. And as a result, we saw more single family units as rentals and other forms of non-ownership. And I just want to suggest that obviously not owning the property doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. But as we know, home ownership has great rewards, which is why the secretary had it as part of her agenda. This particular study also said within our region in Wayne County that, and I'll read a portion of it, the lack of housing values perpetuated a cycle of disinvestment and population flight as large groups of people were ultimately surrounded by vacant and abandoned homes. Now, I just wanted to mention a few of the issues, again, nationally and locally, to make the next point. Let's not talk about the problems. Let's talk about the solutions and what we can do about it. And I'm here to submit to you that 10 Core historically and most recently has tried to be part of the solution. And the programming that I'm ultimately going to focus in on with respect to the program tonight, the Call It My House Housing Literacy program, was directly designed to educate you, that is youth and young people. Because while we have bad news, what better way to reverse that than to make sure that our youth are ready for the future? And if we can do that now, if we can do some advanced planning, we can make sure that ultimately we'll be able to reverse some of those statistics. So as opposed to talking about the problems, let's talk about the solutions. And so ultimately, I wanted to begin by very quickly letting you know about 10 Core. 10 Core is a 501c3 or nonprofit corporation dedicated to providing youth and young adults with life skills to, as we say, to help them prepare, dream, and prosper. So our mission can ultimately be divided into 3 distinct categories. On the one hand, we want to empower participants, which means that we want to make sure that everyone has access to information and data, not just when they become an adult, but even before. Because we believe, and as it reflects in the slides, the programming that we have empowers you as what we call student CEOs. Nope, we don't call you students, we call you student CEOs, because we believe, as reflected here by your presence on this council, that you have the capacity, the ability, the drive to begin the process of making sure that you're ready to do everything as adults without pause. The second thing that we believe is that we need to obviously identify innovative programming, and we believe that we have done that through the Call It My House program for youth and young adults. And then finally, the ultimate goal is to make sure that we change the trajectory of the problems. We want to be part of the solution again to ultimately help build and rebuild our communities. And the beauty about this council is that you're from all different areas throughout Wayne County. And in every area, there's always room to do more, to try more. And I know that you realize that, or you would not be part of this organization. So let me pivot now, just to give you some basic background before I talk in more detail about our program. The 10 Core Law Society actually began in 2010, because what were we concerned about at that point? But the large number of foreclosures. If we went through COVID and called that a pandemic a few years ago, back in 2008 and 2009, we were going through a what? A foreclosure pandemic, where virtually everybody from every economic group was losing his, her, or their homes. And so we stepped up as an organization. And who are we? That consisted of law students, members of the state bar, the national bar, and all sorts of various and sundry bars reflecting the diaspora of ethnic groups. We stepped up to educate people and ultimately made sure that we did our part, just as, again, you're doing your part by participating in this program. So through this program and through the activities that we did, we immediately got recognition, and that was not our goal. In our view, it's not to get recognition, but it's to get the job done to help reverse the statistical information that I started with. So in 2010, we got acknowledged internationally. In 2011, we began to not only do work in Michigan, but we were also called upon to do work in other states. In 2012, we got another acknowledgement through the Hague's Innovative Justice Award. From 2013 until 2017, we got additional awards throughout the state of Michigan. Well, during this period, we were not only meeting and talking to various groups about their real estate challenges, but we were also conducting, as reflected in 2017, symposia, which is basically a huge meeting where you sit and talk about major challenges. And we did just that. Well, in 2018, while we had always worked toward these goals, we had only addressed programming with adults. But in 2018, we decided as an organization that we needed to expand and look at youth in addition to adults. Because what better way to prepare for the future, as the Commissioner Baker McCormick is doing, but by putting you in a position to make sure that you're prepared when it's time to proceed as an adult. So in 2018, we were asked by HUD to participate in a program, and we ended up, and this is when we actually kick-started our programming. It was actually conducted at Inkster Public Housing, and we did a day camp there for youth ages 12 to 18. Thereafter, we decided that it was better to limit our programming to high school students, namely juniors and seniors and young adults, because as you'll soon see, our programming is not chit-chat. Our programming is very, very intense, but fun, but very intense and designed again to prepare you. In 2020, during COVID and during that awful season, of course, ultimately, we had to pull back, but even during that period, we were doing online activity. Suffice it to say, TenCore has been extremely busy because of its dedication to making sure that people have access to justice through legal literacy. But as indicated, we have now expanded that to incorporate our youth. So how are we implementing? What are we doing? Well, again, we implement through two mechanisms, through town halls and symposia, and ultimately through the program that's the focus of my discussion this evening. But in an attempt to give you background information about our organization, I wanted to at least give you the entire framework. So initially, we were doing and continue to do town hall programs for adults, be it live or online. And our ultimate goal, as reflected even in our programming, is that we believe that we are part of the solution. And as you know, we say sometimes we're part of a holistic solution. You know, if we all do our best to make sure that we accomplish goals collectively, we all come out ahead. And so ultimately, we have continued to do programming. However, the Call It My House program is the one that we recently integrated, having started it again in Inkster Public Housing and then at River Rouge High School. The one that we started where we have also made sure that we dedicate ourselves to educating our youth. And by doing this, what are we doing again, but making sure that everybody has an opportunity not only to dream about the American dream of homeownership or owning homes, they also have the tools to make sure that they accomplish it. So now let me just take a moment to talk with more particularity about how we have structured the program. We have faculty, and yes, we call them faculty because this is a 40-hour program, not a half hour or afternoon or over lunch. This is a bona fide program because when we were at River Rouge High School, we actually had one class hour per week that was done in conjunction with the economics class, where we had an opportunity to present this material. And ultimately, because our dream, if you will, is to expand this, who will be teaching, who will continue to teach? Professionals, lawyers, real estate professionals, to make sure that our youth or our student CEOs, as we call you, are given top of the line information. At the same time, this program involves partnering necessarily with law schools and law students. TenCore was started as a result of law student participation because they were concerned, and law students are involved with the program because they come and help the faculty to make sure that every student is trained and every student is given an opportunity to understand the material. And so again, who are these student CEOs? The student CEOs are you, and you. Ultimately, as with the River Rouge High School students and the older students in Inkster Public Housing, our job as we see it is to make sure that you do not wait. That if and to the extent it is your expectation, and for you, you're an easy audience because I already know that I'm talking to leaders, that if it is your expectation that you want to enhance or change the trajectory, the economic trajectory of your family's lives, this program is designed to do just that. And as you see, we are ultimately looking to try and expand by not only going through schools, but also organizations and other nonprofits. And so what does this curriculum look like? Well, as you see reflected in our flyer, which is the uniform flyer that we use, it says it all. That ultimately we are designing this program and have designed it to make sure that, again, it is comprehensive. 40 hours is almost enough, but it's about the amount of time that it takes for us to do what? Well, there are three essential sections, three components. The first one is ultimately to provide our student CEOs with new identities. You go into a Wakanda world, you go into a new, shall we say, space where you are given an opportunity to pretend like you are an adult. And in that space is where you begin the process of going through these three sections. We begin with landlord-tenant to help you understand the significance of that. You will be reviewing documents and doing all kinds of exchanges. We have people pretending to be the developers who are, acquiring property and renting. We have all sorts of programs within each segment that are designed to educate you about your rights. Part two, and this is the most important segment given the program, is the Buy Your First House program. No, of course, you can't literally buy your first house, but this is designed to walk you through each essential step that involves you ultimately, and this section culminating with you buying your first mock house. And this is where we spend most of the time, and you will interface with all of the members of the real estate process who help you to accomplish that. You need not wait until you're an adult to be introduced to a realtor or a mortgage broker or a surveyor or an appraiser. We bring people from the community into the classroom to help train you. The last segment, ultimately, is the entrepreneurial component, because during this phase, you've already purchased your mock house, so to speak, and have now recognized that it might take a couple more pennies. And so for those of you who are also entrepreneurial, we added this segment to make sure that you have the basics from some of our best entrepreneurs in the community. And so here you'll get the basics and we'll be able to understand how you might make a couple of extra pennies to, quote, keep that mock house in good financial order. So what is our goal? Our goal is to make sure, again, that and again, I am just overwhelmed with excitement, as our future leaders, that you have an opportunity to begin today. And we have a program that we're now accepting applications for, because we are ready to proceed to make sure that not only are you getting experience on this council, but that ultimately you and your colleagues at school are also prepared with real world life skills. Now, many of you may know that Michigan mandates a financial literacy curriculum. We call our curriculum housing literacy. And one of the things that we're trying to do is to make sure that ultimately, housing literacy gets added. It has its own identity, because we're going beyond the minor pieces, but our ultimate goal is to add housing literacy to your curriculum so that those problems that we saw, those issues, can gradually disappear. And so on behalf of the 10 Core Law Society and its board of directors, special thanks again to Visionary Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick and you, our future leaders. I am just so filled with excitement I'm just full. Because this opportunity for you, if matched with hopefully those of you who might be interested in our program, means that we know that the future is just going to be amazing with you involved. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. All of you and Robert Pawlowski, I appreciate it. Commissioner, I appreciate it on behalf of the board. Thank you so much. I hope I wasn't too long.
No, that was perfect. And we would like to thank you on behalf of our commission. Just thank you for being here tonight. I also would like to mention that some of our students that serve in this program, some of them are future law students. Some of them are going to
Yes.
be going into law and really focusing. So what kind of advice could you pass over to some future law students today?
Well, today, the first thing I would suggest is that they take this program. Because through this program, they're going to be exposed to current law students. And they're also going to have an opportunity to see some of the very rules and laws that we use as lawyers who are involved in the property practice. And so not only are you learning for the purposes of being a homeowner, but as a lawyer, it's very important to develop analytical skills, to be able to take rules and apply them to facts and relevant facts or important facts at that. And one of the things that we do during the program is just that, help them to identify the relevant rules that they need to make sure that they understand. So on the one hand, I'm biased because this program is certainly designed to do that. But at the same time, they should be reading and writing as much as they can. When I engage with my law students in the classroom, those who have invested their time in making sure that they've developed and enhanced those, reading and analytical skills are my star students. But again, I have this feeling that we already have some stars I wanted to say in this room, but on Zoom. So I'm sure they're already well underway. And I'd be willing to chat with anyone who's interested. I'll say this, it has been 40 years since I started practicing law. I graduated from Yale College and then Yale Law School. And since I graduated, I have always been involved in what we call pro bono activities, just like this, speaking and participating. And so again, the fact that these young people are already engaged is extremely impressive. It's extremely impressive. And we would just ask that this group seriously consider trying to make this a part of Wayne County, because ultimately we not only want it in Wayne County, but across the state of Michigan, indeed across the country. And I must say this one last thing, we have already talked to HUD, the very entity that I mentioned at the very beginning. And we said to HUD and proposed to HUD that as opposed to only having policies that pertain to adults, that we need to also have policies that will ultimately impact and prepare our youth. And they agreed. And part of this, you see, is to have Wayne County, it's already started through Inkster and River Rouge, but part of this is to have this information just expand across Wayne County. And by expanding across Wayne County will also be declared the visionary for something that we must do as a country to make sure that everyone does well.
Thank you for that. And I just wanted to pass it over. Does anybody have any questions for Florice on her presentation or any information she provided? Feel free to raise your hand or come off mute if you have any questions.
I would love that.
Hello.
Hello.
So, like you said, there is a lot of us who wants to be lawyers, and I am very interested in this program. So I was wondering, how would I go about in being involved?
Okay, well, thank you so much. The check is in the mail. That's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much. So let me address becoming a lawyer first. I would love to talk to you more about that in particular, because what year are you in school?
This is my senior year.
Your senior year. Okay, so ultimately, I assume you're applying to college and you're waiting perhaps to hear back from the colleges. And ultimately, once you get to college, you'll have to decide how you're going to proceed as a pre-law student. And ultimately, you'll pick a major. So I'd just love to talk to you about that plan and make some recommendations or things for you to consider. But in the meantime, in the short run, I gave Mr. Pulowski the actual registration form and application. And if you're under 18, you need your parent or guardian to sign up. And once you send it in, we have a rolling admission. And as soon as we get a sufficient number of students, which we hope to do soon, we're going to structure a class. And again, it'll be for 40 hours, including the field trip. And so I'm sure Mr. Pulowski can get that form to you. And if you would, share it with your friends and neighbors, because we want to create a new normal with this. We want this particular program to be cool, right? It should be cool to want to invest, cool to want to know how to approach this early on so that you can build upon it and frankly, not wait until you're an adult. So I would love to talk to you about both things. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a question. So along with I forgot who was speaking before me, but I would also like to be a lawyer, and I'm in my junior year right now. So this summer is when I go to apply to colleges. And when you go to apply to colleges, you have to kind of select a pre-notion major. And in my head, I think that like law has a very interesting business side to it. So for myself, I was thinking of majoring in business, and I kind of just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, let me talk generally about what we do as lawyers. We basically have, as lawyers, two large sort of areas that we can go into. We can either be transactional lawyers or we can be litigators. And transactional lawyers tend to represent businesses. So that's the automatic link to the business major, for example. But at the same time, if you're a litigator, that means you go into court. And so transactional lawyers are trying to keep things out of court, and the litigators are making sure that matters get resolved. But to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter what you major in, but what matters is that you take a lot of classes so that you can enhance your writing skills, your analytical skills. And so that's possible, frankly, no matter what your major is. Because when you get to law school, all of my students are still in the process. And the reason why we call it the practice of law is that because we're all always trying to improve, always trying to enhance what we've done. So I recommend that you pick something that you'd enjoy, something that you're interested in, but also make sure that you always have a lot of writing classes and that you take the time to do very well in those as well. There's no perfect major, in other words.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I can limit to one more question. Does anyone else have any questions? Going once, going twice, final ball. All right. Thank you so much for Florice for coming on tonight and presenting to our students. This information has been very valuable. If you have any other information you'd like to share with our students, please feel free to reach out to me at any time and I can facilitate that going forward.
Well, again, I gave you the information so that they can complete that form and submit it. And that other document has detailed information about the program, a lot of which they saw during my presentation. But again, I hope it wasn't too long. I just really appreciate it because it just seems to me that this group is already on a wonderful path toward success. And I'll tell you the truth, this really makes me feel excited about the future. So let me salute the council members and just wish you the very, very best. And don't hesitate to give them my email address at the law school. And, you know, we can exchange correspondence and chat about law school. And if you're ready to do the program, please get that form in. And thank you so much. This was really, really incredible. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Madam Chair, we are going to go ahead and move on to the next item, but not on our agenda. We're going to move on to the addenda under new business. Just give me a second here. Whenever you are ready, Madam Chair.
Okay. So next up we have new business.
Be item number 7. We're going to be approving the resolution.
Okay, we'll be approving the resolution for our substance abuse and mental health disorder. Okay.
And before we make that motion to approve it, for the record, could we read off the resolution for the general public, just to be clear, Madam Chair? Or would you like me to read that for you?
Go ahead.
Okay. Alrighty, well, this will be our final copy / draft for our resolution before we take it for the full board on April 23rd for our presentation. Resolution states the Reducing Youth Substance Abuse as it relates to mental health, resolution number 1 for 2024, by members Zion McCann, Chair, Kira Johnson, Vice Chair, Nidhi Narendra Kumar, Secretary, and Noah Gubin, Social Media Chair, and followed by members Thomas Bessick, Kelly Cox, Madison Fleming, Maya Freitas, Leah Irving, Janine Jackson, Jayla Jackson, Peyton Kitchen, Priya Roy, and Olivia Sherwood. Whereas the Wayne County Commission Youth Council recognizes substance abuse and mental health disorders are significant public health concerns affecting millions of individuals worldwide, and whereas where COVID-19 mental illness amongst the youth has gone up 40%, and whereas substance abuse and mental health disorders often co-occur and can connect with each other, leading to severe consequences for individuals and society as a whole. And whereas as of 2022, youth between the ages of 12 and 17, at least 19.5%, around 4.8 million people have had a major depressive episode. And whereas a substantial rate of commodities exists within millions of people experiencing co-occurring disorders involving mental health and substance abuse. Mental health challenges exacerbate the risk factors for substance abuse, leading some individuals with mental illness to resort to alcohol, drugs as a mean of coping. Shockingly, only 17% or 7% of these individuals seek treatment for both conditions, leaving nearly 60% without any form of assistance. And whereas statistics indicate an alarming rise in substance abuse amongst youth in our region with significant implications for their academic achievements, social integration, and overall development. And whereas the prevalence of substance abuse amongst Wayne County youth underscores the urgent need for comprehensive prevention, intervention, and support services to mitigate the adverse effects that promote healthy lifestyles. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council asks the Wayne County Commission on this 28th day of April, 23rd to be exact, of 2024, to endorse collaborations, efforts, and amongst governmental agencies, educational institutes, healthcare providers, and families to address the root causes and consequences of substance abuse amongst Wayne County youth, as it be further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council acknowledges the crucial role of after-school opportunities in mitigation, the substance abuse amongst youth. Recognizing that engaging in constructive activities contribute to healthier lifestyles, and be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council advocates for the expansion and enhancement of after-school programs, clubs, and extracurricular activities in Wayne County schools, aimed to providing youth with the positive outlets of self-expression, skill development, social interaction, and be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that all Wayne County schools provide students with substance abuse issues and or mental health issues free counseling during school hours to address the issue, to provide professional development, help methods to cope and address the source of issues, and be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council encourages Wayne County schools to inform families of the preventative measures for their children and offer resources and therapeutic methods to promote obtain sobriety in struggling children, as well as provide families access to parenting classes. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council encourages the development of peer mediation programs to provide youth and dignity positive support and a common age understanding of the struggles youth face. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council implores the state of Michigan and every school board and school district in Wayne County to commit to funding and to help youth struggling with substance abuse and or mental health illnesses. And be it further resolved in that this resolution memorializing its request to be forwarded to the Wayne County Commission, the state of Michigan, and all school boards and school districts within Wayne County, Michigan. Does anyone have any questions on the resolution I just presented? Any members, executive team, staff?
This is Pam. I have one correction. That date should be today's date, the date that is actually getting approved by the youth council. So if you can note that that date will be amended to today's date.
Duly noted. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Other than that, does everyone have any questions regarding that? Madam Clerk, you may call the roll for the vote. Make sure you state your name for a motion in a second. Janine, you can call for a roll.
Is there a motion in support? I'm sorry, did I miss that part?
We're just, okay, yeah. Janine, you are all set to call for a vote.
She needs to make a
motion first. She needs to ask for a motion from someone to.
Yeah, we need a motion. You can call for a motion, Janine.
Anyone motion?
To approve the resolution.
I move to approve the resolution for 2024.
With the correction to the date.
Yep, with the correction.
With the correction to the date, I move to approve our resolution for 2024.
I second that.
And who moved it and who seconded?
Motion by Peyton Kitchen, second by Nidhi Kumar.
Do I all in favor? All in favor.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries, Madam Chair. We can move on to our next item on our agenda. Can everyone see my screen still?
I can.
Okay, cool. We're gonna move on to item number E, old business, Madam Chair.
All right, next on the agenda, discussion and reflection on Advocacy Day trip in Lansing. So if anyone who was there would like to share their thoughts on our Lansing trip, feel free.
Nidhi, you may go ahead. I see your hand raised.
Yeah, so in our trip, it went really well. Got a lot of good pictures. I can send them over to Noah for social media. Um, we kind of talked around with district kind of lawmakers trying to find like a bipartisan sort of solution. We got pretty good feedback from what I saw, but I feel like something we could probably do is get like probably like later, maybe we could like emphasize the specifics of what we have, like especially when we're preparing for our April presentation. There's a lot of like what terms we're using are pretty vague. So I feel like that's probably something we can work on as like a group.
Thank you, Nidhi. Does anyone else have any thoughts that were there on the Lansing trip? I know the majority of our members weren't there.
I thought it was a good experience. I was surprised to see Renaissance there. I like work with them in a different club, so that was fun. Like just experiencing different groups, talking about issues that are really important to us, and like getting able to like being able to network with different politicians and actually seeing them in work was really interesting to me. As far as like I would call it the demeanor of everybody, like how everybody's behaving, it was really interesting to like see it in person.
Absolutely. And does anyone have any other questions or anything they'd like to share from our trip? I'll kind of touch into that as soon as everyone else has had a chance. Seeing none. But it was a pleasure to be able to go with some of our members to Lansing last week. I enjoyed kind of being able to share my insight to a lot of our members that are not, still trying to get to know Lansing, but also some of the legislators we did meet. There was some wonderful conversations, especially with some legislators we met in the hallway, one of them being Rep. Jason Morgan, represents Ann Arbor, Oakland County, and Wayne, and Representative Jim DeSanta and Representative Jamie Thompson, including Representative Natalie Price. So we had some wonderful conversations, and I want to thank all of our members for just being engaged and being able to take the time out to just go learn more about your legislator. And I hope that this experience, because we'll be doing more stuff for our members continuing next year. We'll be doing a lot more bigger and better things next year. So this is just one thing that you'll be able to get some education on, more that you get more involved with leadership. So just wanted to be able to express that, and all of our members that were able to attend, thank you so much. If anybody else doesn't have anything further than that, Madam Chair, we can move on to our next item.
Alrighty, next item on our agenda is new business. At number 1, we have the discussion of permission slips and agenda for the April 23rd presentation, tour, and lunch meeting.
Yeah, so that would be me. We're going to start off with the permission slips here. So as you know, there is permission slips that were sent out in our mass email to all students regarding their attendance, if they're going to be able to make it to our presentation on April 23rd. Just kind of the same layout that we went over on permission slips before. We're going to be meeting at the Guardian Building, 500 Griswold Street, Detroit, Michigan. Silence that real quick. And it'll be April 23rd, which is a Tuesday, and it'll be from 9:45 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Transportation will be drop off and pick up by your parents at the same location at the Guardian Building, 500 Griswold Street. Drop off will be 9:45 promptly and 3:30 p.m. for pickup promptly. If you could have your parents sign this form, just and with an emergency contact, that'd be greatly appreciated. We are looking at hopefully doing something a little bit easier to make it easier for people signing these forms. We're looking at digital forms to have them signed. So just be patient on that. We should have that. But in the meantime, your parents are more than welcome to fill out the physical form, print it out, scan it, and send it back in an email to me to make things easier so we have our attendance. With that, we do have something here on our agenda that asked for a show of hands for attendance. I wanted to kind of pose the question out. Who will be in attendance for our presentation on April 23rd? If you could raise your hand or come off mute, state your name, so we have a record of that.
I, Madison Fleming, will be present.
Thank you, Madison. Just give me we'll pose the question for other members here. So Priya, Maya, and Janine, are you going to be able to make our presentation on April 23rd?
Yeah, I will be out of town the week of April 23rd.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Priya, are you going to be able to make it?
At this moment, I'm just not 100% sure, but most likely I'll be able to make it.
Okay. And last one, Maya, will you be able to attend?
Kind of the same thing as Priya. I think I will, but I'm not 100% sure. I've got to confirm with my parents before, like, I know for certain.
And just for reference, for anyone that knows, this is going to be during a weekday, and we will need for you to make sure you get an excused absence. That won't count against you if this is community work, so it should not be an issue if you're attending this during a school day. So just make sure you follow up with your parents and school administration to make sure that's facilitated. And I'll I don't have an agenda in front of me for the April 23rd, but I can just kind of go into detail. All of you can lower your hands. I think I've got what I needed. So you guys can all lower your hands and just kind of go over a little basic for the agenda during our presentation. 9:45, we're all going to meet in the atrium area of the Guardian Building lobby to kind of discuss what our day is going to look like. Go through a rehearsal for our roles to make sure everybody is set on what their role is and what they're going to be speaking about assigned. And from there, we're going to go into the commission meeting for our presentation. We do go through an order of business. Prior to that, commissioners will go through an invocation, pledge of allegiance, a roll call, and a call to order, and some other presentations that are on the agenda. We'll get more into the detail of the roles and the ideas for the presentation in our next item, but we will go through our presentation, and then after that, we will be in the commission meeting for the remainder of the period of time while we pass over our sashes to our seniors, and I will ask that in just a few moments. And we'll also pose with our commissioners for a group photo, following with a tour of the Guardian Building, lunch, and a debrief. And at 3:30, we will be ready for departure for you guys to be ready to be picked up by your parents and kind of next steps from there. For the question on seniors, I wanted to ask, who is a senior this year that will be receiving a sash? Please raise your hand or come off mute. Some of you I know that are seniors.
I will.
Okay.
I'll be a senior as well. I mean, I am a senior currently. Sorry if I misheard your question.
No, that's okay. And Priya. Am I missing any seniors so far? I know Zion's a senior.
I'm a
And no
senior.
need. Okay, Jean, I got you marked. And for other members on this call, I would just ask that our members in the group me please ask all of your colleagues who's going to be a senior this year, and please have them forwarded to me so I can add them so they do receive a sash this year for our completion ceremony in June.
Just to clarify, who is a current senior this year? That's what the question is.
Yes.
Who is currently a senior, graduating senior this year?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. With that, I think that does move on to our next agenda item. So Madam Chair, you can actually move on to our next agenda item if need be.
All right, and number 2 on our agenda, we have discussions of April 23rd presentation to the Wayne County Commission.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is the part we're going to discuss our roles for the presentation for all members. Currently, we are missing half of our executive team here this evening. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss was just roles. So I'm going to be assigning roles to certain individuals for our presentation. So I'm going to start off with Zion. She's going to introduce our exec team, which first off, when we go into our presentation, our commissioner is going to introduce us and she's going to
Robert,
invite us to the stage.
Robert, excuse me, I'm sorry. So we don't really need to go into details. We just need to let everyone know that you will have some role where you're coming up to introduce yourself and stating, you know, your name and the community you represent. Usually we just have the exec team give the official report and everyone else kind of comes up after the report is given, and any seniors will be acknowledged as well. So that's really the extent of what we're going to discuss as far as the roles today. We'll go into further detail when Zion and the exec team meets. They'll go into more detail at that point.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yep,
So
no.
there's, yeah, so we're going to really focus on the basics. So our executive team will be giving a presentation. Nitty, we're actually going to say, we're going to assign that you talk about Lansing for this presentation specifically since you were there. And once we get the executive team to discuss more, we'll be able to discuss those ideas going forward. But we will be just having the exec team present most of our activities through the year and giving an opportunity for members to introduce themselves in front of your commissioner. And we'll be giving sashes out to seniors while we're going through our presentation.
Did Nitty say she was going to be present, or did she say she thought she could be, or I missed that part?
Nitty is going to be present.
Okay, great.
Yes, I'm going to be present.
Great. Just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Okay. And in terms of ideas for the presentation, as you all know, that we are working on a presentation to present to our commissioners, well, your commissioners to be exact. We will be focusing specifically on the outline of activities we've done throughout the year. So for example, our Wayne State meeting, the meeting at the DIA with U.S. District Attorney of the Eastern District of Michigan, John Eisen, and we'll be also focusing on our Lansing trip and other kind of small activities we've done throughout the year, especially in our Zoom meetings with our speakers, what we've talked about. So we'll be working on that. I'll be drafting you guys an outline, and any photos or any ideas you guys would like implemented in that. We're going to be limiting to our presentation at least 4 slides. So we're going to keep it short and keep it simple. If anyone has an idea that they would like noted on this call, I'd be happy to take it down. Does anyone have any ideas or any photos that need to be sent to me? In terms of photos, please just email or text them to me and I'll make sure they get added on the presentation. Does anyone have an idea for the presentation, how they would want it geared to, what they would like to specifically focus on?
I think like in the sense of whether it be like a collage or something of like the people, like the speakers we've had, talking about like their positions.
Kelly, if you're able to reiterate that, I'm sorry, it was a little muffled at first.
I'm sorry. I'm moving the laptop. Something where it's like a collage or a list of like the people speakers we've had. I think they've been like really impressive. So whether it just be like their name, their position, like a picture of them, their position, so we can like emphasize, you know, the networking and the exposure that we've had.
That's a good
I
question.
think that's a great idea. Would you like to put that together?
Yeah, I can do that, no problem.
Okay, great. Great. You can just get with Robert and he can give you some pictures and photos. And maybe some other members might have some photos that they can give you. Yeah, that'll be great. I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with that. Kelly, just for clarification, so you're interested in doing more of a slide, just a collage of photos, just kind of describing each speaker we've had so far?
It could be like a the collage can be on like one of the slides that we have, like in addition to maybe like a summary of youth advocacy day or something like that. But at least on like one of the slides have I wish I could like show you, but like their picture and then like I guess you could say their name and their title and all of that.
Okay, I'm taking note of that right now. Yeah, that'd be a perfect idea to kind of just focus one slide on photos, and then each slide that we have, we can focus on one event that we had, and then one slide to specific meetings that we had that were impactful with speakers that we had. So that would be great to really focus on. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add on that? I personally think that's a good idea. Thank you, Kelly.
No problem.
Seeing none. Well, if anyone has any other thoughts they would like to see in the presentation, like I said, I'll be drafting you guys an outline and I will be sharing that with you guys to get your thoughts. If you want to add stuff on it, I will be making the proof edits for you. So feel free to reach out with any ideas or any photos that you guys have from our events, and I'd be happy to include them and facilitate that in our presentation. With that, Madam Chair, we can actually move on to the next agenda item if there's no further business on this item.
Alrighty, next on the agenda, we have the discussion on youth council recruitment for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you, and this is just a small
Was
discussion.
that the chair? Was that Zion?
It was Janine.
Oh, okay. You sound like, okay. I thought you said Zion was here. So I didn't know if she took over or not. Okay.
Nope, that's
No,
okay.
Madam Chair, Zion's mom is here in her place. Zion is somewhere in Virginia.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. That's
Well,
fine.
we appreciate you for being on this evening, Miss McCann. Thank you so much. Just to kind of keep this a small discussion regarding recruitment. So most of you know that applications have opened up for the 2025-26 school year. We would personally like to ask on behalf of staff, if any members.
Robert, correction, they haven't opened up yet. The applications open in August 1st. But
Correction.
yes, but we just want them to be aware that they can start recruiting or any students that you know that's interested in government or interested in what you do in the youth council. Make sure you send them our way so we can start collecting their names. And then Robert will follow up with them in August to make sure that they get the application.
And
So
not
that,
to mention,
go ahead.
not to mention the other fact that we'll be also going to school districts in certain areas, letting them know that this is a program in place. So during our summer months, that's normally what we focus on. So, but if anyone knows somebody that's interested in government, like the commissioner had stated, that wants to get more involved and find a program, this is the program for them. And, we'll definitely start pulling them in and start getting them kind of more enlightened on the process. We'll start sending them applications once they opened up in August. Thank you for the correction on that, Commissioner. And if anyone's just going in, I see she's unmuted. So do you have something?
I was just going to add to that too. If you want to, any of the members want to invite them out to any of our events, the last of the year, Tiger Stadium, and we have our completion ceremony. Invite them on any of the Zoom meetings that we have. Yes, so you can just start doing that, just kind of rolling them or pulling them into the folds. So, yep, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, if anybody is interested in attending one of our events, just to state for the record, this is our last Zoom meeting of the year, where we will just have our regular events just exclusively for our members, which we'll get into more detail after we're finished with this agenda item. But if you know somebody that's interested in joining the Wayne County Commission Youth Council, make sure to send them my way, and I can definitely follow up with them with anything next steps going forward as we approach next year. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, Madam Chair, you may move on to the next agenda item.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have discussion of the summer internship program.
Thank you. I'm actually going to pass this one to the commissioner to
Yeah,
kind of
so
describe.
we're working on different opportunities for employment over the summer. What I'd like to do is get any names of you that may be interested in a summer job. Last time we kind of opened it up and we didn't really get that many of you to participate. I think we had about 3 members that participated last time, but let me know if you're interested in an internship, and then we can look at potential employers that fit what you are interested in, rather than just putting you in a position that you're not interested. We're gonna try to target certain businesses and or organizations that fit your goals. So just let Robert know if you're interested in a summer position, and that's how we'll move forward with the internship opportunities.
And just for enlightenment on the summer internship program, your based career that you're looking to pursue as a career into your future, that's something we're going to more so progress and look at for you to have that internship. So if you're interested in law, we're going to look more specifically at internships geared to that on your behalf. And we're also going to be looking, if you're into, prime example, sports marketing or anything in business, we're going to look at internships on your behalf to find that right fit for you to still make you feel like you're engaged, you're still, getting that leadership skills and also learning more about your career as well. So I just want to put some clarity out there. And last year, to be just to kind of give a reminder for some of our members last year, we had certain programs up in place with the Detroit Red Wings. We had some with the city of Northville at one point. And we also had one of our members intern with Wayne County, I believe in the budget department. So there are tons of opportunities in terms of summer internships. But like I said, if you have interest in doing an internship over the summer, please feel free to reach out to me via email or text, and we can facilitate that for you as we progress into the summer months. All right, Madam Chair, you can move on to the next agenda item.
All right, at number 5, we have the discussion of community cleanup project on May 4th.
Yes, so this is going to be a quick item here just to put on everybody's radar that we'll be having our community cleanup project on May 4th, which will be about a month from now. It'll be a Saturday. We're going to be partnering with Michigan State University's Extension, and we're also going to be partnering with our partners at Smart Bus to be able to pull this community cleanup project together. We're still waiting on the logistics for where we're going to be doing the cleanup, so just wait and expect an email from me at some point in April once we get closer to that date. But just to make sure, mark your calendars for the cleanup project on May 4th.
And we'll have lunch after
Yes.
the cleanup as well.
Yes, lunch will be provided as well. So we're not going to let anybody out there for that because it's a day process. and with the community cleanup project. So lunch will be provided, so that's everyone's has that in place as well. With that, does anyone have any questions on that? Transportation, location wise, anything in particular regarding the cleanup? Seeing none, Madam Chair, you can move on to the next agenda item.
Alrighty, we have the discussion on the League of Women Voters membership for the chair.
Okay, I'm gonna let the commissioner get into this one a little bit, but I just want to be clear that this was supposed to be for Zion, and unfortunately she's not here. But Commissioner, would you like to enlighten the members on this a little bit?
So the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that basically informs the community about elected officials, their background, what they're doing or not doing in various capacities throughout actually the country. There's leagues of women voters all over the country. But the Detroit chapter invited us to have one member, and I decided that, of course, the chair of the youth council should get it. One membership to the League of Women Voters, and it's such a great organization, and it's an opportunity for Zion at this point, because she is the chair, to work with elected officials and work with the league in how they kind of vet leaders and understanding that whole process, and holding leaders accountable as well. So they reached out to me and said, hey, I got an opportunity, or we want to give an opportunity to one of your members to work with us. And so we'll give a student member each year, a membership. So Zion will be the first to have that membership. And I thought it was a great addition to our program. So whoever is the president, chair next year will also get a membership.
I know Miss McCann is stepping in for Zion, but congratulations to Zion in receiving that. It's well deserved.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, and for anyone that runs for president next year, because I see a lot of our members I served with that are going to be departing this year. So a lot of our new members that'll be coming in, that'll be something you'll have, if you do run for chair, that'll be one of the perks for running for chair is having that membership. So definitely going to be a new program we're starting out, and we're going to be continuing into next year. So if anyone's interested in running for chair, this would be one of those motivators to be able to have as well.
And then the other news that I'm also looking at how we can pull this together is advocacy of some kind day, or I'm trying to put it together, but it would be a trip to Washington for a conference. So you'll hear more about that next year for those of you that are continuing into the program.
Thank you. All righty. With that, does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, Madam Chair, we can move on to our next agenda item.
All right, next on the agenda, we will be taking any announcements by members.
If any members have any announcements, may I make an announcement, Janine? Madam Chair. Please go ahead.
You're speaking, but it's kind of muffled.
Okay, can everybody hear me now? Slightly. Still muffled?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. So I actually wanted to deliver my remarks to a lot of my former colleagues. As most of you know, I was originally the youth council member for District 15 of Wayne County. I had served one term on the Wayne County Commission Youth Council just this past year, and I was actually hired on as the new legislative aide for the Youth Council. I'd like to deliver my remarks specifically to the members I had served with, to just thank you for the amazing service that you have dedicated to this council over the years prior to my arrival. We have done so many things over the course of the year, and I know that for Zion, this is probably emotional for her because she adores this council. And it's a little emotional for me because I remember when I first came on, and it was just remarkable to see everybody that was motivated for change. And I kind of want to read off the names here. Just give me a second while I pull those up. And I'd like to acknowledge them before our meeting on the 23rd. I'd like to acknowledge Zion McCann, our chair, Kira Johnson, our vice chair, Thomas Bessick, our member in good standing, Kelly Cox, Janine Jackson, and Peyton Kitchen. I'd like to thank you for your amazing service over the course of these last few years of being on this council and serving with me. But I'd also like to thank our new members for taking a step forward to learn more about leadership. I'd like to thank Nidhi Kumar, Noah Gubin, Madison Fleming, Maya Friedez, Leah Irving, Jayla Jackson, Priya Roy, and Olivia Sherwood. I'd like to thank you for your tremendous leadership and being able to take a step forward to learn more about county government. These thanks are not the end. We have tons of events over the year, but I just wanted to extend this as just a thank you since this is our last Zoom meeting for the year. So thank you to all of you that have committed your service to this and being the most engaged. And I know our commissioner expresses her thanks as well if she'd like to come off mute. Commissioner, would you like to add anything? Seeing none,
No,
oh,
no, I will address the members on the 23rd. I'll see everybody then.
all right. All right. Does anyone else have any remarks? I'm not seeing any remarks. Janine or Madam Chair, you can move on to our next agenda item.
All right, next on our agenda, we have next meeting. Our next meeting will be April 23rd at 10 a.m. at the Commissioners' Chambers. Drop off and pick up from the Guardian Building. Drop off is at 9:45 a.m. and pickup will be at 3:30.
All right, next agenda item.
And for our upcoming meetings, we have a meeting May 4th at 11 a.m. and that's our community service project. Please wear your WCCYC shirts. And I'm assuming to be dated sometime in May is our Tigers game night.
Correct.
And on June 4th, 6 to 8, we have the Detroit Riverfront at Port Authority, the completion ceremony.
More details will come out in the coming months regarding your completion ceremony. With that, next agenda item.
All right, we will now be taking public comments.
If anyone has a public comment, please feel free to raise your hand and we will call on you in the according order. Please state your name, the city of residence, and inside the county, and you have at least 3 minutes to make your comments. Going once, going twice for public comments. Madam Chair, you can move on to the next agenda item.
All right, lastly, we have adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I motion to adjourn. Maya Freitas.
I second Kelly Cox.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Great job tonight, Janine.
Thank you.